गुण ही परया मैं फिरा लोक कह दरवेश तू दरियाओ दाना बीना मैं मछली कैसे अंत लहा जह जह देखा तह तह तू है तुझ ते निकसी फूट मरा तन तन सो गुरसिख कहिए जिन सतगुर सेवा कर हर नाम लया तिस गुरसिख को हो सदा नमस्कारी जो गुर कै भाणै गुरसिख चलिया डंडौत बंदन अनक बार सर्ब कला समरथ डोलन ते राखो प्रभु नानक दे कर हथ वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। गुरु प्यारी साध संगत जी, these days we're remembering those beautiful beloved Gursikhs whose lives resonate and they lead and guide us today. Tan Bhai Parminder Singh ji, Tan Bibi Rena Kaur ji, and Tan Bhai Charanjit Singh ji. The Gursikhs and their lives, they spread such a fragrance that not only during their livelihood, during their lifetime, during the time that they actually were breathing on this world, but even beyond that, generations later. And just like Gurbani Sache Pacha says, that even until the time in Dargah, beyond these worlds, these Gursikhs will continue to be praised again and again and again. Gursikhs are selfless. Gursikhs, they resonate Guru Sahib within them. From them we see Guru Sahib. From seeing them, being inspired by them, we get closer to Guru Sahib. We find that cha inside of us. Guru Sahib, they explain how we fall in love with Gurbani, how we can fall in love with Guru Sahib even more. Tina dekh man chaho uthanda, hon kad pai gunatasa. By looking upon them, by gazing upon them, I fall at their feet. I fall in love with them. I get inspired every element. Pero sachi ਗੱਲ ਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਦਾਸ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਤੱਕੀਏ, ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਦਾਸ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਹੋਂ ਸਦਕੇ ਤਿਨਾਂ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨੋ ਮਿਲ ਆਪ ਗਵਾਇਆ. These Gursikhs, throughout history we speak of them. Their lives are such that by meeting Guru Sahib, by becoming one with Guru Sahib, they've completely lost their own being. They've lost their own home. They don't exist within their own entity, in their own identity anymore. They're praised. They are living, walking Gursikhi, and that's how we remember them. Pero, when I was young, I was blessed with the opportunity to have darshan of these three Gursikhs. And when this tragic accident happened, I was in grade 4 at the time. And I remember that the Gursikhs were coming, hearing about these Gursikhs that were coming to Calgary and to Edmonton for Nagar Kirtan, for different seva. And then the only thing I can remember is my dad telling me, quickly, let's get in the car, we have to drive to Foothills Hospital right away. And when we gathered at Foothills Hospital, we walked into the lobby, and in the lobby there was many people mourning, many people crying. everybody was speaking to this one young Singh who was about 18 years old at the time. He had a cast. His arm was broken. You could tell he had cuts all over his face. He was inside of that vehicle that was part of this accident. And I remember when myself being young, all the uncles were asking him questions and him happily responding with such chardi kala, with such grace on his face, saying that yes, I was sitting in the middle row, in the middle of that row. And Bibi Rena Kaur was sitting on this side, and Bhai Sahab was sitting over here, and these other Gursikhs were over here. He himself, being a part of that accident, knowing everything that's happened, with this 18-year-old smiling, I'm guessing he was 18 years old, smiling in the chardi kala that he had on his face. That instilled and it kind of exemplified that in the face of any fear, in the face of any hardship, the Gursikhs are unwavered by this. They've lost themselves completely. And just like Bhai Parminder Singh ji, Bibi Rena Kaur ji, and Bhai Charanjit Singh ji, they were this flower that had this fragrance that wasn't only affecting them and they were living in this bliss, but I saw in that 18-year-old boy's eyes that day that what rang, what flavor, what ecstasy that he was actually sitting in, talking to all the uncles and the aunties that were traveling from here in Calgary to go to that hospital and see what was happening, what this tragic event was. But Pyareo, that Gursikh, I still remember his face today. To me, that meant pure bliss, unwaveringness. It was as if that those Gursikhs whose lives I hear of today and growing up, we live in their legacy. It shone through that Gursikh's face. Next thing you know, we're climbing up the stairs. We go into a room. And I remember this one Singh who was casted over his body, and he was hanging from the hospital bed. We walked in somewhere else, and there we saw the beautiful sister's face, Bibi Rena Kaur, with her face had cuts over and her body was covered in a white cloth. And Gursikhs are sitting outside. One Gursikh is consoling the rest of the Sangat, saying to recite Gurbani. Some people are reading Chaupi Sahib da Path, some people are reading other Bani. There is sorrow, yet within this sorrow at that moment, there were certain specks that were shining. That moment, for myself, knowing these Gursikhs, having seen them, but then learning about what their life meant and how inspired thousands of people. Pyareo sachi gal hai, Gursikhs never leave. Gursikhs are always present. And those Gursikhs, Satgur no mil aap gawaya, jinnah ne aap Guru nu mil ke, they met Guru Sahib and they completely lost themselves. Pyareo, home man dies. The ego dies, the body dies, the mind's thoughts, the furne, they come and they go, they die. Pyareo, that jot, that light within, that will never die. And that's why that love is felt for these Gursikhs today, and it will always be felt. There's those Gursikhs that were part of the accident during that time, and they were showing me the cuts that they had on their legs. Yet some of them weren't injured, some were severely injured. But even in their face, it was as if that fragrance or something that wasn't as false as we perceive the world to be, or the emotions and the relationships of the world to see, that was touching these Gursikhs. And it might have been coming from the fragrance of Gursikhs that they have met in their lives, the Gursikhs that they've done Sangat of, or they've learned from. But I felt it that day, just in grade 4. Throughout our lives, we search for Gursikhs, we search for this this guidance. We find ourselves lost. But ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ, they know that just by coming into their presence, their heart is cooled, their mind is cooled. You find the coolness that you've been searching for your entire life just by sitting in their fragrance. And just sometimes, myself, I know I do this, and a lot of Gursikhs that I speak to, they will do this. They'll gaze upon the photographs, the pictures of such Gursikhs, and they'll find the coolness in their heart. Tina dekh man chaho thanda, hon kad pai gunatasa. Sachi gal hai, inne gun, the talents, the pyar. People will speak about it. You can watch the documentaries that the Gursikhs have made. ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਸੱਚੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ, ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦਾ ਜੀਵਨ, ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਸੁਣ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ. And that's why when we look at these Gursikhs and their lives, ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਹੋਂ ਸਦਕੇ ਤਿਨਾਂ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਕਰਨ ਉਦਾਸੀ ਅੰਦਰ ਮਾਇਆ. They're not attached to anything whilst living. This is the state of the mind that Bhai Gurdas ji explains of Gursikhs, of how selfless they really are. Bhai Parminder Singh ji, always going out, any carriage that they would do, any task that they would take on, it wasn't their own task. There was nothing in it for themselves. When we read the lives of Sant Jarnail Singh ji Khalsa Pindranwale, we read the lives of Bhai Sahib Bhai Rantir Singh ji, we read the lives of Bhai Taru Singh ji, Baba Deep Singh ji, we read the lives of great many Gursikhs, pyariyo. Sachi gal hai, there's one thing is common amongst them all, that they're never looking to gain for themselves. Apna nij da swarat kade nahi hunda. They'll never do something for their own gain. Instead, they'll give financial, they'll give energy, time, sacrifice their relations. They'll give everything just to have the panth succeed, just to give more to the Guru. Karan udasi andar maya. Sachi gal hai, eh Gursikhah ne vi, they lived within this maya. ਇਹ ਮਾਇਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਦਾਸੀ ਹਾਸਲ ਕੀਤੀ. They gained the padvi of udas, of detachment. They were detached while living in this world. Everyone is attached to friends and family. We perceive the world to be what the world tells us we are. That you are a young woman, you're a young boy. They identify you, and we connect ourselves with these labels. Then with these labels, we try to find goals in our life. We want to become rich. We want the American dream. We want our empire, a business empire, or you want to be the most attractive person. You want to be the most well-dressed person. We want to find bliss in life, so we go out hanging out with friends. Sensual pleasures. Ite ras sarir ke keh katnaam nawaz. Sachi gal hai, we fall under the vices of our body. But these Gursikhs, while living in this body, they were detached. That's what the life of a Gursikh is. Jede naal Gursikhana de ina de rahe a, they can tell you about the great Kautak, that the great miracles that have happened around these Gursikhs' lives. I'm not going to touch on them too much. But one thing that Bhai Parminder Singh ji said, their bachan, that resonated with me growing up and kind of shaped my way on the outlook of life when I went to go and do Sangat of other Mahapurukhs, is they said this bachan, that if somebody growing up lived their life in according to Gursikhi, did their Nitnem every single day, read Gurbani, did Sangat, refrained from the Bajur Kureta, the 4 restrictions for the code of conduct of the Khalsa, they refrained from them, refrained from vices. They continued learning Vidya and reading more and more Gurbani. By the age of 21, you can reach enlightenment very easily. Now we know in Gurbani, we look at the enlightened beings, these Brahmagyani Mahapurukhs of Dhruv and Prahlad. We look at great young beings. But pyariyo, jada Mahapurukh hunda na, when they say a bachan, that bachan is towards the person that's receiving it. A lot of times today we like to generalize. Somebody says a word and that word or that statement, we try to apply it to every single person on this globe. And we say, well, what if it's not going to work in this situation or this situation? And we try to doubt it in different ways. Pyareo, all of these things are true, but when Bhai Parminder Singh ji, they're doing prachar to a certain niche and a certain diaspora, and they're looking at these Gursikhs, knowing these struggles that the Gursikhs might be growing up and facing today. When they see these struggles, they're explaining and they're knowing them. Pyareo, jeda pਹੁੰਚਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਪੁਰਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦਾ, the being that has reached a certain state of being, they're able to look at another person and see their lake. They're able to look through the person inside out, pyareo, with the illusion eyes, with a doubtful eye, with a lost eye that we are living in or seeing the world with. This eye looks at the person's body and we might see lust, we might see anger, we might see ego. We see somebody to have a fight with. ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੀ ਜੋਤ ਦਿਸਦੀ ਆ. They are able to see Guru Sahib Sache Paatshah's light inside of them. And also with a being living inside of ignorance, living inside of homme, there's a lot of karma attached. Gursikhs ਨੂੰ nazar ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ to how to help them. They are able to identify the disease and they're able to provide them with the cure. That person is truly a Vaid, considered to be a true doctor. Rog daru dove bujjai ta Vaid sujan. That person is a doctor and somebody who is able to identify the disease and provide the cure. Let me give the example. Let's say your stomach is hurting. You go to a doctor prescribes you pills for knee pain. You're going to say that this does not remove my pain. This doesn't solve my problem. Pyareo, these buttons of Bhai Parminder Singh and the prachar that we listen to and how they were teaching the world, that was guiding exactly who they were speaking to, the problems that they had and the steps that they needed to take in order to reach that avastha. And that's why these bachans resonate with us today. And these words that they said, that gave hope, that gave opportunity. It was motivating. Ki jao Gursikhs di sangat karo, Mahampurkhan di sangat karo. Never let go of your nitnem. When you look at the faces of these Gursikhs, you don't see influence of negativity pulling towards the sansar. Nahi, karn udasi andar maya. While living in this world, sachi galya, they are completely udas. They've detached themselves. And when we look at what their actual focus is, where their prem is, where their goal is, they're giving everything to the panth, to grow the panth for generations to come. And their focus is Gur Mat, Gur Charni Chitlaya, Hom Sadke, Tina Gursikhs, Gur Mat, Gur Charni Chitlaya. Their focus is only on Guru Sahib Sache Paatshah's teachings. O aap sikhde ne. ਉਹ ਆਪ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ. You look at them, you see them as saints. You see them as a loving friend. You see them as a warrior. ਇਹ ਗੁਣ, they inspire, but not in a worldly sense. If Bhai Charanjit Singh ji was a warrior, they weren't a warrior in the sense of Alexander the Great or in the sense of UFC fighters. Nahi pyareo, Jodha, this is a different class of warrior. This is a different class of surbirta, a fighting spirit. Because this class is immortal. When we speak about different warriors, their focus might be on glory. Their focus might be on a championship. Their focus might be on success and winning, of victory. But Gursikh, this spirit, this warrior spirit that we see through people of these Gursikhs like Bhai Charanjit Singh ji, pyareo, their physical body may not be here today, but pyareo, that warrior spirit is igniting hearts even till today. That's why when we look and read the lives of Baba Deep Singh ji, it ignites the Khalsa Panth once again. You listen to the Ityas of Baba Bidhi Chand Ji. You listen to the Ityas of Baba Vichitar Singh Ji. That ignites, it grows that love. Sun Sakhi Man Jap Pyar. You listen to the beautiful Kirtan. She wasn't a musician like any musician singing today of false worlds. Mere Mohan Saravani Ena Sunaye. Sakat Geet Naad Tun Gavat Bolat Bol Ajay. Don't listen to songs in false words, Pyareo. These words sung by Panji, they hit hearts, they pull the strings of Gursikhs' hearts today, and they intune that heart in the same love that she was experiencing. That is immortal. Other music may or may not be able to do that. I don't know. But Sachi Galya, her words were able to do that. When we look at the concentration, the focus of Bhai Parminder Singh Ji, this great being, this Mahampurkh, this beacon of light, every focus in their life, every word that they said was absolutely, completely a push, a direction, a boost. Gave Chal Mere Veera, Chal Meri Bhain, oh my brother, oh my sister, look how easy this path is, jump into it, just dive into it. It almost felt like Bhai Parminder Singh's words would come and embrace you, and they would pull your heart and console you to make all of these difficult paths, the hurdles that you are facing inside of your mind, one by one removing them. Say that no, look at this path, look at this love of the Guru. Sachi Galya, walk this path one step at a time, and Guru Sahib takes thousands of steps towards you. Bhai Parminder Singh's words were like Guru Sahib running thousands of steps towards you. I don't know about anybody else, but Gur Mat Gur Charni Chitlaya, that their focus, their concentration was always on Guru Sahib, and on the focus upon the beautiful lotus feet of Guru Sahib Sache Pacha. Those blessings, they worked through them. Ho sadke tina Gursikhs. And that's why when we look at these beautiful Gursikhs, Bhai Gurdas Ji also explains, Gursikh de Gursikh Malaya. They had the Gursikhi. They had the Guru Sikhya. They had the teachings. They spent time. It takes effort. You want to learn a new instrument, Pyareo. You want to go and learn a new subject. You spend months and months, and you read textbooks, and sometimes you still cannot consider yourself a master. But Pyareo, it takes lifetimes and lifetimes of bhakti to be able to achieve the seva, achieve the state that these Gursikhs had achieved. That's why Sache Pacha, Bhai Gurdas Ji, they're explaining Gursikh de Gursikh Malaya. Oh, Guru di Sikhya dinde sige. They had the Guru Sikhya, they gave the Guru Sikhya to others, and they connected others to Guru Sahib themselves. They connected the Guru and the Sikh by giving the Guru Sikhya. You cannot connect anybody to such a divine state, something beyond the world, beyond these elements, beyond your physical, chemical worldview of the creation of life or the makeup of life. You cannot see it through any other lens. But this connection that these Gursikhs provided to the world, provided to us in Canada, North America, and the world, they had this Sikhya, this love. It was coming from somewhere divine. It was so powerful, you cannot make this connection in any other way. And the truth is, once this connection is made, once they gave this connection, those people that they touched, that they inspired, Tori na tuta, shori na shuta, aisi mado khinchtani. That love is so tight, you can break it, you can try to cut it, you can light it on fire, you can tear it apart, but this love is inseparable. And Sachi Galya, these Gursikhs and Paramatma, they're inseparable as well. They're the form of love that we look upon for inspiration. Ho sadke tina Gursikha bahar janda varj rahaya. Pyareo, Bhai Gurdas Ji is explaining that sadke jama, I sacrifice myself. Balihare jama, I salute these great Gursikhs, I bow down to them, who can control the thoughts of their mind, control the furne of their mind. And in their mind, our mind, We always want to go out for vices. We see something and we chase it. Rupa kama hai dosti. We see something and we chase after it. We see something, we desire it. Our mind has so many thoughts being born and dying every second. There's something pyareo ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਵਿਦਿਆ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹਾਂ, it's called ਸਮ ਦਮ ਆਦਿਕ. ਸਮ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਆ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ, ਮਨ ਦੇ ਫੁਰਨਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਕਾਰਾਂ ਵਾਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਤੋਂ ਰੋਕਣਾ. Stopping your mind from going after vices. And dam meaning stopping your body, stopping your physical body, your hands and your feet, your indre, from going towards vices. And in this way they were so disciplined. They were transformed, almost as if you take a rock, you cut it and you shape it. The person that's shaping this rock is Guru Sahib themselves, disciplined, molded into such a perfect entity that's shining light, a beacon of light upon this world, that's enlightening many others across the world. Better just by a story of something, sometimes you hear about them. That's the power of Gursikhi. Their lives were this representation. You see a picture of them, that is inspiring. You hear the Kirtan, you see a video, that inspires you. Because they were not wavering, their mind was not wavering. They controlled their mind and their body from going towards vices. Bahar janda, their mind that wants to go outside, bahar janda varj rahaya, they had molded themselves into the complete concentration. And this is where Bhai Gurdas ji, they explain how sadke tina Gursikhs asa vich niras valaya, that while focusing all their hopes, all their support in this world was only Guru Sahib, and Guru Sahib grabs onto them. If you place your hopes in the world, guess what? The world is not going to be there forever. The sansar, the world, the opinions, your fashion trends, what the next trend on Instagram is, none of these things will stay with you. Pyareo, follow the trend that is immortal. Follow the trend that will live even when all other trends do not exist anymore. That love of Paramatma that's experienced today, Pyareo, these Gursikhs, they were experiencing this and they were niras, they were indifferent, they were not attached to any other hope or dream or support in this entire world. This is why Satgur da Updesh Dridaya. They had instilled this Guru Sikhya, the command of Guru Sahib inside of their life. They're walking this path. They walk this path and they're a beacon of light. This is why we are qurban to these Gursikhs. Jo Gur ka paana, Gursikh chalya. They walk this path in this Guru's paana, in this Guru's will, and this path is so intuitive. You recite God's name, Paramatma da naam jap ke, Guru di vidya ਲੈ ਕੇ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਸਾਧੂਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਰਪਿਤ ਹੋ ਕੇ, you sacrifice yourselves, you find guidance, you find focus, you never look back. And that catch, that tang, that pull of love towards Guru Sahib Pyareo, it'll detach it'll detach your mind from all the false illusions of the world, and it'll attach you to something, this bliss, this Paramatma, which you won't even realize you're intuitively by reciting Paramatma's name, by focusing your concentration upon Paramatma, you'll intuitively become a part of it. So ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਵਾਰ-ਵਾਰ ਨਮਸਕਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. The more you bow down to them, it'll never be enough. ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, we remember these Gursikhs' lives today. They always will be remembered. What we should take out of this is inspiration to say that if they were able to walk this path, look, then why can't I? Why can't I walk in their footsteps? Sant ki gail na chhodiye, mara gala ga pao. Never let go of the path, the tracks that these Gursikhs laid out for us. So pyareo, ਇੰਨੀਆਂ ਬੇਨਤੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ while speaking, while talking. I've made many mistakes. If I've said anything wrong, please consider me your younger brother and forgive me. ਤੇ ਅਸੀਸਾਂ ਬਖਸ਼ਣੀਆਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਗੱਜ ਵੱਜ ਕੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾਓ ਜੀ. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ